Yep.
Good morning, everybody. I see the number of attendees is rising, so please just bear with us for maybe 15 to 20 seconds to let people in, and then we'll get going this morning. But just bear with us. Thank you. Right, good morning everybody, and welcome to the latest Institute webinar. I'm delighted that this morning's webinar is being run in association with our IFA partner, KPM. So it's a warm welcome to KPM and our speaker this morning, Manish Patel. More of a welcome for KPM and Manish in a minute. Can I just run through a few housekeeping points before we get going? Today's session is being recorded. If we suffer any technical issues, please do bear with us and we will look to resolve those as quickly as possible. We do, though, find sometimes that people comment that they can't hear or they can't see. Please check your internet connectivity because it could be something at your end, but hopefully we don't have any issues or any problems and everything runs incredibly smoothly. The slides from this morning's session will be sent to all attendees within the next 24 hours. We will be sending to you on behalf of KPM an email that will include a link to the slides. So just for all of your information. We always say these days that these sessions should be engaging and interactive. So please, if you've got questions, you can use two of the facilities. There is the Q&A facility, either at the top or the bottom of your screen, wherever you've located it. And there's also the chat facility. So please do pose your questions. If you have any observations, please pose them in there. I will pick those up as we go along. If it's appropriate, I will stop and ask Manish or comment before we then move on again. So please do interact. Please do ask those questions. I know Manish as well has a couple of polls that he's looking to run at the early stage of his presentation, of his talk. Your involvement in answering those polls is really vital. It helps him, it helps us, it helps all of us understand. So please, when they pop up, I will remind everybody, but your answering of those questions is really important. Housekeeping over, housekeeping done. As I say, welcome to this morning's webinar, and a welcome to KPM. KPM, as I mentioned, are an IFA partner and have been for a number of years now. KPM provide connected cloud accounting software for owners of small and medium-sized accountancy practices. KPM's journey, they launched in 2013, and they now support and service over 1,300 customers. Those 1,300 customers support over 170,000 business clients using all, part or some of KPM's software portfolio. Interestingly, for KPM and for the wider world, they were recognized for what they've been doing in the cloud accountancy space back in 2020, when they won the Practice Suite of the Year Accounting Excellence Award. So well done to KPM and the team for that. Today's session brings us back to making tax digital, a journey that all accountants have been on now for a while. Digitalization continues at a government level and at a business level, and then for an accounting practitioner level and your micro and smaller business clients. And we're moving on to the self-assessment time and opportunity. So today's talk, Manish will focus in upon making tax digital and looking at self-assessment and what the sort of impact might be and what you need to be considering now and over the coming months. Manish Patel is the head of customer success at KPM. His career has been built within the technology and the IT arena. He's spent his time working with a range of clients across a range of differing sectors, providing solutions, customer service and customer support. Manish, enough from me. Welcome. Thank you for joining us this morning, and we look forward to hearing from you. I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Jonathan. You've oversold me in terms of my skill set, but I really do appreciate it. Welcome guys to our webinar this morning. It's really nice to see the number of attendees this morning. I'm sure I've met a number of you in person and digitally, obviously past webinars, but I'm really glad to have you on board, and hopefully we can add some value to your practices. To start with, Jonathan's given us a great introduction to KPM. He's filled you in on a number of bits of information that that we're about. But just to build upon that, we've been running for about 8 years now. As Jonathan mentioned, we are a fully cloud-based accounting platform for accountants to use for all their needs. Really, we have a modular base. So overall, we have an MTD solution for VAT within our bookkeeping. We have a payroll solution. We have accounts, corporation tax solutions, as well as individual tax. And we'll concentrate more on our MTD proposal later on in the presentation. And finally, we have a practice management solution as well. To give you an idea, I joined the business about 3 years ago, and what I picked up really early in my journey within the business was we are underdogs in this industry. But not just that, the way we've grown in the last 3 years has been down to the fact that we've put accountants at the forefront of our development. We want to be here to help you, the accountants, feel confident and help you succeed by simplifying everyday tasks so you can increase your productivity and reach your business objectives. We try to make it as affordable as possible, given that we are a cloud-based platform, and we always have been. We've been built digitally from the ground up. It's afforded us to provide a cost-effective solution. And, as Jonathan mentioned, we support over 1,300 accounting firms, and our retention rate's really high, 97%. So we'd like to think that the accountants out there really appreciate the product we're putting out. And finally, to touch upon what Jonathan mentioned, and being head of customer success here, it was a really proud moment for us. But yes, we did win the practice suite of the year last year with the Accounting Excellence. The most important part of that award for me was it was voted for by accountants rather than a panel of judges. So I hope for some of our customers that might be on this webinar, and hopefully potential customers after this webinar, you really do understand that we do put you at the forefront of our development. So I'm going to, hopefully that gives you a nice introduction to us as a business, but I'm going to move on to the subject we're all here to talk about today, which is making tax digital for self-assessment. But before we go on to actually discussing this obviously what we need to be preparing for in the future, we need to really look at the journey and where we've come from so far and where we've been. So this journey started a long time ago, over 6 years ago, when the government announced the MTD scheme and how it would be rolled out. I actually, funnily enough, joined the business towards the tail end of 2018, and a big part of my role at the start of it was preparing our customers for MTD for VAT, which obviously was the phase 1 rollout in the early parts of 2019. And to give you an idea of my experiences, it was more of, I think, the step into the unknown for accountants. They felt that the information in terms of how they should change their processes, how they should pivot as a business, wasn't out there. The Hmrc was putting a mandate out there in terms of how this VAT filing process will change. But I think there was a lot of confusion around how that would come into effect for accountants in practice and how you would have to change your business. So I understood from a lot of our customers, and again, I'll be frankly honest with you, a number of our customers and new customers that came to our platform at that time thought, you know what, I've picked up the MTD add-on to your VAT module, it should be fine. In reality, that's not the case. There were a number of steps as a business that they had to recognize and change before they could successfully say, look, I've made my first MTD submission, and those digital links that were required. And now obviously we're rolling into the second phase of this. Most, if we ask our customers in a recent poll of our customers now, all of them feel the majority of them feel confident going into this second phase that's going to be rolled out for VAT into this year, because they've been provided the information, they've been doing it for the last year and a half, and they feel confident that our platform provides them the tools they're required to stay on the right side of compliancy on that side. So where are we going to? Well, it's MTD for income tax self-assessment. That's the next stage. And again, you might feel as this is a scary part of the development. You might feel, why are the Hmrc looking to change this so drastically, especially when we've had a year of turmoil, and it's been clear for a lot of businesses it's been a very difficult period the last year and a half. However, this is going to happen whether we like it or not. There's nothing we can do to change it. The best we can do as software providers and you as accountants is prepare yourself for this inevitable change. The Hmrc have always said they want to be the most digitally advanced tax organization in the world, and they will not stop just at the VAT part. We are going to move on to self-assessment, and in the future, we are going to be working towards corporation tax as well. So the quicker we prepare for it, I guess the easier the transitions will be for the other services that we have to do in the future. So I'm going to start this presentation off with a couple of questions. And this is just to gauge the feeling in the room in terms of how you've kind of dealt with the first phase of MTD and how you feel, obviously, moving on with it in the future. So the first question, which we're going to pose, is how well prepared were you for MTD the first time round? And you've got three options here: very prepared, neutral. Again, those are situations where you might have thought, well, I've kind of dealt with, or I know the situation, I've got software in place. Or not prepared. You might have left it last minute. And you can be honest, this is all anonymous, no one's going to know your answer, but let's see what the answers come in. So I'm going to let this run for about another 25 to 30 seconds so we get a good idea.
It's good to see that people are answering the question and the poll. If you haven't yet done so, can you kindly give us your answer? It's there's some interesting findings coming out, which is good.
And you can see the split from what I can see at the moment, and we're nearly there. To be honest with you, there's only a few more left to vote. That the split is very even between neutral and well prepared, which is where I kind of thought it would be from my own experience, obviously in a customer facing role. And we just ended the poll there. So yes, look, the majority were neutral about it. And I think that probably echoes, Jonathan, I don't know about yourself, I'm sure we've done a number. I remember the year before, we did a number of branch meetings in South Bank, I think it was around Tully Woods in Leicester, where I think I did a presentation to everyone on MTD for VAT. Was people felt they were prepared overall, i.e. they read the legislation in terms of rule changes, but they didn't know how it was going to affect their business and their customers moving forward. I don't know if you felt it was something similar, and the poll results come to what you saw in the past.
Yeah, I think that is a fair reflection of what I would say our members fed back to us, and what I picked up at the various face-to-face meetings and events that we held. I think there was a lot for accountants to understand, to get involved with, and then there were a significant number of potential cloud accounting software options out there for accountants, for our members, and it was then, if you like, the minefield of an accountant finding the right one. So, and that doesn't surprise me with those results. The thing that would intrigue me, and I don't know, I'd be interested for people to sort of share a few comments via the chat box, but you know, those that were or felt they were very well prepared, can you just explain very briefly why you thought that was through the chat facility? And again, I'm not ignoring the neutrals, but those that didn't feel they were prepared, why might that have been? I just think it would be useful to try and delve and understand a bit more. So, you know, please, if you could take a couple of minutes, if you were very well prepared, just to share your thoughts, or if you weren't prepared to share your thoughts, I think that would be useful to share and understand as well. So anything within the chat facility would be pleasing to see.
Definitely, and I think it's nice that, do you know what the difference between doing these online sessions and then being in person when you do these question and answers, people do engage, and they do share what their experiences were, and this is a forum for all accountants to learn off each other, because if someone did feel they were very prepared the first time round, that they're able to give a bit of insight to why they were that prepared, it would help someone else in a very similar position, or feel if they're in that category of not prepared, the next time we go around, it will hopefully give them some hints and tips to better prepare themselves for the next phase.
Yeah,
definitely. Okay, brilliant.
All right. Do you want to move on to the second question, Manish?
Of course. So this delves into a little bit more about the detail, but the questions are based around, were you satisfied with your understanding of the process for MTD the first time round? Again, just let this run for a bit, very interesting. It's quite evenly split, to be honest with you.
Certainly is, yeah. If you've not yet responded, do kindly give a response before we shut the poll down.
Okay. Again, so in terms of the understanding for the process of MTD the first time round, you know, it's 41% to yes, to about 34% to no. So I think this further adds to the argument of, as you mentioned earlier, you've got this mandate down from the Hmrc, you've got a number of different software providers telling you we can do this or we can do that. And I think this probably adds to the idea of, you know, what is the process? What is the best process? Because we had bridging processes put out there. We had a soft landing period also out there in the first instances. So I'm not surprised, again, by the split between the yes and no. But I think, as you mentioned, Jonathan, earlier, it would be great to get a further understanding to why you felt you were very prepared.
Thank you. You know, Christine's commented, I was able to quickly get the hang of it from the software provider that I use. So great that somebody who was already using software felt that her provider had supported and helped on, you know, what was always going to be a maybe troublesome journey, because, you know, digitalization, change, it always has its possible pitfalls. So great to hear that that particular lady felt, you know, that they were supported. Thank you, Sajid. We have advised the clients about MTD, and we have picked software which will be useful for MTD. Okay, that's interesting. Hazel, thank you. I do not deal with VAT. I'm just a small personal tax compliance advisor. I've been trying to ignore it for the last couple of years. Okay, Hazel, do you know what? I think there will be a number of accountants who would fall into the same camp as you, but as the government is taking us on a journey of digitalization, of making tax digital, you and other professionals, micro, smaller business entities, the self-employed, everybody's going to have to embrace this. So great to see you on the webinar this morning, and many thanks for your comments. So thank you for those, everybody. Manish, sorry, I'll hand back to you.
No, brilliant. I think the first point you mentioned in terms of the software provider being a point of contact and helping you, that's part of the service that you take on. And it was a big part of the service that we had to offer. It wasn't, we've just developed this piece and go run with it. There was a lot of education involved with it. So it's definitely something you should look to with your software provider. So
sorry, just go on as a useful comment before you go on, which I think, thank you, Adnan, who comments that he started using cloud software in the early stages, and he now feels confident. So I suppose, whether it be Hazel, anybody else in Hazel's shoes, Adnan's point is really valid. Find out about your cloud options now, do your research, talk to providers, build your confidence so that then you can support your clients. So enough from me. Thank you very much.
No, that is a very good point Adnan's made. I speak to a number of customers on a daily basis, and people that are looking to start their own practice when they're just starting out, and a lot of them start out and thinking, look, I'm going to pick out this module because we provide a modular base, and a number of different software providers provide modular based platforms, and they say we're going to pick this out, and pick this out. I might use Excel for this and then move forward. And the argument I always make to start with is you've got to build something that's going to be scalable in the future, and that's going to help future proof your business. So if you start with a process which isn't something that's digitalized, say you're using Excel for certain parts of it, when you do hopefully get to a point where you are scaling and you're bringing in customers that you do have to deal with that or self-assessment for, you want to make sure that you're in a position where you're not going to spend a lot of time migrating your data over to a new software provider because you didn't do it in the first instance. What you do is you set the processes from day one, and hopefully they will allow you to grow and scale your business as you move on. But a brilliant point from Adnan there. So I'm going to move on to the next slide, which is more to do with the death of the self-assessment season. I'm sure a number of you felt this twice this year, given obviously the extension to the self-assessment deadline, which was obviously last month. And it's a big bane. Again, I'm going to build upon how I see it from the software side of things, is what I say to all of my colleagues and new colleagues that have just since joined the business. When you want to speak to accountants over that Christmas, December, January period, there's no point picking up the phone to them and trying to offer them a software solution because they're far too busy. That period, everything else shuts down. And I know at the start of February, normally, traditionally, it's a 2-week period where all accountants just want to take a break, take a step back and move away from the pains of the self-assessment season. But this change in the bringing of MTD might change the way, obviously, this has been done, because it's not going to be focused around one date or 1 month in the year or getting all your information in. I think it's going to be a change in, I guess, your workflow to evenly spread your workload over the year, because your submissions are now going to be made quarterly for your self-assessment clients rather than one big shebang at the end of the year. So hopefully a positive from all of this will be that your workload is spread, but there has to be a number of changes to come into place before that happens. So we're going to look at the evolution of the self-assessment season. So MTD, ITSA, if you want to call it, is one of the biggest tax changes of the generation. It's a key element in the government's vision for modernising the UK's tax system. As we've mentioned already, the future is digital. So an accountant, like it or not, will have an active role to play in this moving forward. There's endless possibilities with the evolution of self-assessment. There's positives. At the end of the day, you're asked to do a bit more work on your side of things. So your margins in terms of what you're doing for your clients, you can relook at the rates that you currently charge traditionally, because you are changing the way you work. And rather than doing it in one big shebang at the end of the year, you can change the way you charge your fees at the end of the day. If you are working on your client's self-assessment within quarters, depending on how you bill them traditionally, you can pivot accordingly and get paid quicker at the end of the day. Open banking technology will be massive in regards to, I guess, automating a lot of your processes and providing real-time information, such as tax and national insurance calculations. So again, you can provide better insight to your clients in terms of their obligations and how they're doing as an individual moving forward. And in the not too distant future, tax software should be able to fully automate the process for taxpayers using the open banking technology available. So they'll be able to read your transactions, hopefully file your tax returns automatically, and securely make those payments to Hmrc. I think by April 2023, the use of open banking technology will hopefully revolutionize the dreaded time-consuming task of filing tax returns, and dramatically streamline your processes through automation. I think with all of this, you have to think about the technology that you're using, and you have to think that hopefully that you're adopting forward-thinking technology that embraces the accountant's needs. You want to use tools that reduce the burden on your on your clients, and reduce the manual input and tedious time-consuming tasks, so like data input. You want to be able to use capture apps that are picking up purchase receipts, for example, and invoices, rather than keying them in manually. You're getting digital record put in automatically through OCR technology, and at the same time, you've got that digital link in terms of the actual proof of what you're posting for that client. And I guess at the end of the day, this change is being mandated, and I'm sure a lot of you are sick of that time of year when you're getting the box of receipts from your clients and you are going through that manual process. Hopefully this will put an end to that resistance, and if you've got the tools in place to enable your clients to provide these digital records to you, this will be the end of that manual process, and move you away from tools such as Excel. As great as they are, I use it on a daily basis. I'm sure you all do. When it comes to tax and your filings, you really want to put this all on a centralized system, which have all the key components that you require to stay on the right side of compliance. So I'm going to move on to the next slide, and it's leading on to what we just mentioned. There is this change in self-assessment and this wave of MTD an opportunity or curse? So we've got to look at it on two sides, really, for the end clients and for the accountants. So I guess for the end clients, they get access to real-time data. If you are using a cloud platform that is interactive with your clients, they should have lovely dashboards that give them an idea of how they're doing in terms of money management. They can use that data to forecast cash flow. So it's less time worrying about calculating tax liabilities and giving them more time, hopefully, and I guess the accuracy to plan their own business growth. You're enabling them to have this information in front of them, rather than, again, like we said earlier, just a box full of receipts or a number of Excel spreadsheets. This is real-time data that they can use to really grow their businesses. At the same time, the flip side, there's a curse for them. Increased fees. Again, this comes down to you as an accountant and how you're going to be charging for these fees. But I assume, obviously, with what you do, if you're putting more time into it, this cost is going to ultimately be passed down to your client. So there will be I guess, a period where they'll feel, yes, we're not, we're paying a little bit more, but at the same time, you have the skill set, you are the accountant, they are not. At the end of the day, they are paying you for a service. So if you're keeping them on the right side of compliancy and away from fines, these are the fees that that they will have to pay if they want to stay on that side. And I guess finally, it's the increased number of deadlines, right? Rather than in their head thinking, right, I can get this all over at the end of the tax year, it'll be fine. No, we are going to have quarterly deadlines. So at the end of the day, for them, they're going to feel like, oh, I need to get this information in as soon as possible, or by these dates. But I'm scaling it back to the argument again. If you've got the right platform in place, they should have tools where their deadlines are visible. You should be able to send them reminders through text messages or emails. And these should be all automated reminders to keep them abreast of their deadlines. And not just that, everything that they're doing at the moment is in real time. So they shouldn't be scrambling around a day or two before their deadline to get that information across. That should be worst case scenario. They should be providing that information to you on a daily basis through tools that you provide them. For you as the accountant, what are the opportunities? So here, if you are digitizing your processes and you're using the right platforms, this should free up time for you. As much as this feels like this is going to be more work in time, once the processes are in place, this should free up time to focus on more profitable activities, like advisory work, in the sense. And really, I think a lot of you probably would have noticed in the last year how important you have been to businesses to survive with the amount of change and the furlough schemes and the loans that were available from the government. You have been their advisors through that period, and a lot of it might have been done pro bono through that period with you guys. But moving forward, you will see how important you have been to the businesses, and I guess how they've survived over this period. You've got to really use this opportunity here to I guess, build upon those opportunities and provide these advisory services for them. We mentioned this earlier, get paid quicker. So if you're using the right tools and you're capturing this information quarterly rather than a bill at the end of the year, you can, at the end of the day, capture this information, get it sorted for your client, show you're doing tangible good work as you're moving along over the tax year, and get paid quicker. So over for you, I guess it improves cash flow over the year, and you don't have to worry about doing a number of bits of work and not getting paid at the end of the year. But again, that comes down to how you're going to position yourself as a business and how you're going to provide your service moving forward. And second, and finally, it's attract new clients. And I can tell you from my experience from speaking to a number of our customers, the last MTD period was, I guess, a shift. We saw a number of different of our clients increase their client limits with us because they were picking up new clients, and that was because they had their houses in order from day dot. They had a solution in place, and they were able to offer advice and the solution to new clients clearly and concisely. For end clients, if they feel that their accountant hasn't got the advice on hand, then you're going to think twice about, is this the right accountant for me? And if you're going to look around, you're going to look for people that meet your business objectives. So if you're worried as a business user for your obligations to the government's MTD scheme, and your accountant hasn't got the answers or the tools to provide you to bring in, you're obviously going to look for someone that is going to provide their services. And clients, and a lot of our clients, saw an increase in business over that period. The curse of this, at the end of the day, is yes, there's more direct transfers to the Hmrc. So I'm not saying anyone does, but there's less opportunity, I guess, for creative accountancy or interpretation in terms of that person's self-assessment return. You've got to prepare for change overall, right? As I've mentioned, and I think we've been banging on about this, is there's a lot of work you need to put in to start with. And I think a lot of accountants might have done that about 2 years ago and feel, right, we've got the right software in place now to obviously adapt for this next phase of MTD. But if you haven't, use this as a period where you do get in place for self-assessment. And not just beyond that, ask the question about corporation tax. If your software provider right now doesn't have an answer on it, and they won't do because it's still a long way away, but if it's not on the horizon that they're going to have to deal with this in the future, it should pose questions in your mind to think, okay, I need to start thinking about, is this provider going to be the right one for me moving forward at the end of the day. And finally, it's adapt to when, right? So if you don't move to technology a lot quicker, if you don't digitize your practice, you could really you could fall by the wayside. And this is not just accountancy. I think we've all seen it. I'll take Netflix for an example, right? They have thrived over the past less than a decade. And if you think at the end of the day, about 10, 15 years ago, you used to go to Blockbuster to go pick up your VHSs or rent a DVD on your side of things. They didn't digitize their platform quick enough, and they lost out to the competition. I know it's a different industry and it's totally different, but it's still the same rules apply to the accountants when it comes to MTD. It's really important you digitize your practice, because if you're not in a position to service your clients moving forward, you will be overtaken by not just your local competition, but obviously other services that are provided by larger companies that are looking to pick up tax services through digital transformation. So it's something really to keep an eye on moving forward. However, bring it all back, you might feel that this change might be a step too far for you. A lot of accountants, the first time around, we actually did a white paper on this around the first MTD, was around succession planning. You might be thinking at this point in time, do you know what, there's too much change within the industry. I'm at the age where I've serviced enough clients and I'm thinking about retiring soon. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think what you probably have to do, and at the end of the day, when it comes to it, you've put your life's work, or the majority of your life's work in terms of building that practice. whilst you are looking to retire, you might be handing this over to maybe family members, or you may be looking to obviously exit and actually sell your practice. It's important not to leave it in a position where you're going to devalue all that hard work that you've put in over the years. Because as you're aware, MTD, we've been banging on this presentation about, is going to happen. So anyone looking to purchase your practice is going to value on a few things. Your client book, so obviously if you've got a number of clients, great. Your profitability, obviously, you're retiring, so hopefully you're in a good place and your profitability is up. And again, this is going to be based on the way your business is run. And finally, how systemized your practices. No one wants to take over a practice and think, oh my God, I've got a number of clients here. There's 300 odd clients, which is great, but I've got to digitize all of them. That's not how it normally works. They want to be in a place where they'll see a practice and say, right, we've already got processes in place. Even if they're going to move them away from the current software platform they've got, moving from a digital practice to, well, a digital platform to another digital platform is a hell of a lot easier than moving from spreadsheets and documents to something digital. So it's really important that if you want to gain the most value out of your practice and you are thinking about leaving, maybe systemize it before you leave, so you do hold that value within your practice. And I think there was a recent poll done, but I think 62% of our customers who did subscribe to MTD VAT hadn't used cloud software before. So I think this change is, if you haven't already, is a really good opportunity for you to embrace that change and innovate before you might exit your practice. Because at the end of the day, it will only benefit yourself in the long run, and hopefully buy you a nice holiday home in the process if you are thinking of leaving. So let's get down to the crux of the matter. What is MTD for self-assessment? So MTD for income tax requires businesses and landlords to keep digital records and submit their tax returns directly to those using records using MTD compatible software. Quarterly submissions have to be made to the Hmrc. Expenses, their business expenses using a compliant piece of software. Submitting a final declaration at the end of the year. Non-business information like foreign income, other income is added to finalize your tax affairs, and using software to submit that MTD compliant submission. I think this replaces the need for a standard self-assessment tax return, and then you'll have that final figure for the year. So as it stands, the payment of the submission deadline will stay unchanged, but this will essentially give you digital records and change the frequency of those submissions that you're making to the Hmrc over the course of the year. So setting up your new MTD process. Now, again, this is probably something that you'll have to speak to your software provider for, because there are a number of tools that you could probably use to help you set this up. But the software must be able, essentially the software must be able to keep digital records and provide that information to the Hmrc returns using its API, right? So that's the one thing you need to make sure that your current software does, and if it doesn't, you need to ask questions of when it will be doing that. There is a period at the moment that most software providers are in consultancy with the Hmrc to develop their own products, because this is something new for everyone. But it's something you want to make sure that your provider is doing at the moment. You're going to have to obviously create an agent services account, similar to if you haven't already done it on the VAT side of things. It's something that you'll have to do. And again, your software will have to capture that information and be able to take the digital records that you're putting into the platform and transmit that to the Hmrc when you are making your quarterly returns. So are there any exemptions for this? Yes, so trusts, estates and trustees of registered pension schemes and non-resident companies are exempt, and all partnerships other than general partnerships that only have individuals as partners. So for example, limited partnerships or limited liability partnerships, those with corporate partners are exempt at the moment. You're all aware, again, that the Hmrc can, at the end of the day, be flexible with the rollout of a number of new schemes. We've seen it with obviously IR35 in the past, which obviously now is on its way, and it has been a phased approach in the past MTD ventures. So this is based on the information that we have at the moment. All of it is always subject to change, but it's important that you keep yourself abreast of this information moving forward. So I guess the best place to move on to next is how do we suggest you rise to that challenge? So join the pilot scheme. We're already in conversation with a number of our clients. We've put out the message, and some of them get back to us that they want to be a part of our pilot scheme. We are going to have a beta of our self-assessment MTD module put out there for them to use if they are going to be a part of our pilot scheme. And I would ask you probably to do exactly the same, see what your software provider is doing and get on that pilot scheme early. I found, especially on the VAT side of things, the customers that were a part of it early 2019 and got their agent services and got registered for MTD services were the ones that did not have the problem when it became mandated. And we're coming on to the end of it, like this year, in terms of the second phase running out. They were running smoothly. They had their processes in place early. So get out and in front of it early. Don't put your head in the sand and ignore it. It's easy to do, not just with this, but anything in life. Try to get out of it early. Keep up to date with the Hmrc. Obviously, sign up with newsletters if you can. So keep yourself informed. At the end of the day, if you keep yourself informed, you keep your own clients informed. At the end of the day, create a client-centric information hub. So similar to what we have something within our practice management where your client can log in and they can see their dashboard, they can see their deadlines, they can share documents with you. All of this is brilliant information because at the end of the day, it stops them thinking for, okay, when's my next deadline, or bugging you or bugging your staff around this information. It should be visible for them. If your platform has got this information, it's automated, then all they have to do is log in and look at their deadlines there. And you can automate a lot of this as well. Hopefully you've got email automations within your platform. We currently do within our practice management. SMS reminders, again, we have that within our platform, where if you've got deadlines set up, you can have SMS reminders go out to your clients because some of them prefer it on their mobile phone, and it just keeps them up to date with information. There's no shock and surprises moving forward, and you've got something to point towards if an unexpected client comes back to you and says, "I wasn't kept up to date with this information." Overall, I think I'm going to echo again. Just don't wait until it's too late. Again, I think I mentioned earlier in this, most people that did switch to us thought, right, I've picked up the MTD module, I'm good to go. It doesn't work like that. There are a number of steps for you as a business to put in place to ensure that the process will run smoothly with your clients. And not just that, we will provide the software side of things, and that's not a problem. We'll deal with the compliance side of things, but you've got to make sure as a business that you're geared up for it, and you've got a way of working that the staff understand and that your end clients understand at the end of the day. So that's really, really important to put in place. So I'm going to now give you a sneak peek. I want to say this is a world premiere. It kind of is, but it's not all Hollywood. I'm going to play a video from our product team who are going to give you a snapshot of what we've developed thus far. It's obviously not finished product yet, as we haven't released it, but it gives you an idea of the setup and submission process of the on our platform for the new MTD for self-assessment module that we have. So just going to full screen this. My colleague Travis, who's one of our product managers here at KPM, will be speaking over this. You're probably bored of my voice so far, so his dulcet tones will hopefully engage you for the next 5 minutes. So I'm just going to play this and then we'll roll back to the presentation in a minute.
Hi and welcome to this video walkthrough of KPM's Making Tax Digital for income tax self-assessment. My name is Travis, and in this video I'll be taking you through the solution that we've put in place and how KPM makes MTD a walk in the park. Now, upon logging into your new self-assessment module, you'll be greeted with this dashboard that presents you with key data. On the left hand side, you have your Hmrc submissions broken down by your quarterly submissions and the statuses assigned to each submission. On the right hand side, you also have your Hmrc submission summary, except this would be for your yearly submissions, and again you have the various statuses assigned to each submission. In the middle you have your Hmrc authorization chart. This will give you a breakdown of all your authorized clients, clients that aren't authorized yet, and clients that you're waiting for approval. Just below you have your to-do list, which will give you a breakdown of the stage of each client's tax return. And of course you do have several other tabs available, and to remove any, simply use the cross button on the top right hand side. Now naturally you will of course need to start by bringing your client's information into KPIM. If you are going to add individually, you'll need to navigate through 4 tabs. First tab being your client's details, second being the client's address, third being the business details, and fourth being your tax details. Once you've added your clients, you can always find them on the left hand side, or of course back on your client's dashboard. Now once your clients are added, you want to head to digital records, and here you'll be required to import your client's digital records, which comprise of their income and expenses. To start, select your client on the left hand side. Scroll down until you head to step 1. Under step 1, navigate through the options available, such as your source type. This will be your mode of imports. You also have your form type, whether self-employment or UK property. You'll then need to enter the business name and business ID. Once done, click Next, where you'll then be required to download the CSV file by using the download button. Once you've done so, you'll then be presented with a template with 2 tabs. The first tab will be the actual contents of the template itself. Ensure to not amend any of the column headings, and on the Notes tab you'll be given a breakdown of which fields are required, which aren't, and the format of any field in this template. Once done, ensure to save, head back to KPIM and re-upload that same file. Once you've uploaded the file, click Next, and the system will present you with the contents of the template itself. If you wish to remove any particular line item, simply use the checkbox and delete. Otherwise, click Next. Now here you have a breakdown of all income and expenses for this particular individual. We can simply head down and save. Once you've saved, click Next. So here we have the Return Form tab. Here you have the ability to pull in any relevant information directly from Hmrc. And because we did use the self-employment, we can go ahead and get self-employment list, then get business details. And these will be pulled in directly from Hmrc. And of course you can apply the same principle across any other tab, such as your obligations. And once you're ready, you then want to head to the Submissions tab just here. And of course, before you can submit, because we are submitting under MTD, you will need to create your new MTD accounts. To do this, we've detailed out some steps for you to follow. First would be to check your MTD eligibility by using the hyperlink just here. You can then register for MTD with your gateway ID and password using the button just here. Once you've then granted KPIM permission, you can start your submission process from KPIM. Now here we have the quarterly submissions. You will of course have a breakdown of all 4 quarters on this page. You can choose to view any particular return before you submit, but once you are ready to submit, you of course have the submission buttons across all 3. Same principle is applied to your annual summary. You will of course need to pull that information in from all the various returns that you've done during your quarterly returns. Once you've done so, head to your final submission tab, accept the acknowledgements, and then submit to Hmrc. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to see more, head to www.kpim.com and book a live demo.
So that was obviously a quick demonstration of the product of where it's at the moment. Travis there showed you the import function from obviously a different bookkeeping provider. So if you're using CSV, and that is still to be developed further in terms of other integrations that we might have, depending on what kind of bookkeeping provider that you might use. But you also mentioned, because we got we also saw there that you can import that information from our current bookkeeping. So we have obviously our own bookkeeping platform, which has capture applications as well, where once you've got that information prepared, and this again the message that we had earlier, keep that information updated as it's going along, keep your client engaged, it will just pull that data automatically from your own bookkeeping platform for that client, because we provide an integrated solution overall. So finally, as we're coming to the end of this presentation, I'm sure obviously we've probably got some questions that have come in over the end of it, so again, happy to answer them as we go along. There's some information there in terms of our website. You'll get, as Jonathan mentioned, a copy of these slides as well, so you'll have this information there and a recording of this presentation. And yeah, finally, I'm just going to touch upon this because I know we're going to run through the questions, but we normally provide IFA members 20% discount if they do look at our platform. We're going to change that, and it's been a long year for everyone. So and this is exclusive for IFA members, if you are looking at our platform and you are looking at our full suite, or you have been contemplating it, we're not just going to give you 20% off now. We are going to give you 50% off. So effectively, you're getting 6 months off any 12-year subscription in that sense. So that's just to say a big thank you for obviously the support so far from the IFA, and hopefully we can continue to support your software needs moving forward.
Manish, thank you. That's been a really useful run through as to where this Making Tax digital journey is going. And with the self-assessment piece coming online in the future, how people should think and prepare, not only themselves as an accounting practitioner, but also the support that they provide to their clients. Just how are you finding feedback at the moment from your 1,300 plus accountancy firms? Are they far more confident now because they've been through it from a VAT perspective, or are there a number of your clients who are a little bit like, I think it was Hazel earlier on, who hadn't had to look at VAT, but will have to look at self-assessment? So, what are you finding from your clients?
Yeah. Jonathan, to be honest with you, every practice, though, like I said, we've got 1,300 there, so every practice is different, right? Some people might take the view that, you know what, it's KPM. We've dealt with the first phase of it. We'll deal with it closer to time, and they have that confidence that the platform is there. So we've got the message across to them through our own marketing teams to say, look, we're on top of this, and it's important that your software provider keeps you up to date with things, because it kind of gives you that confidence to think, okay, well, it's not on the horizon for me at the moment, but I know they're on top of it. They fed me information to let me know that that they will be on top of this compliance issue moving forward. I think on the flip side, and with a lot of our champion customers, because you do have those champion customers out there, they have been very keen to get involved with the beta testing and to get involved with the pilot schemes. And I think it's testament to I guess our engagement with them that we've had such an uptake in terms of proactive clients. And it's great to see this, people being proactive and saying, look, I know this is coming. I've seen that you guys put it out, I've read it, and I want to be a part of your pilot scheme and test out your platform as it goes through. So overall, it's been positive. I think on the case of a lot of the existing clients, I think there's a level of confidence there with them to say, right, when it does affect me, I know my software platform will have the tools in place because they've had to do it for VAT in the first instance. But at the same time, there's also that unknown, right? You've got a bunch of customers that that might not interact with you on a daily or weekly basis, and you don't know what the gauge is. But that's for us as a customer success team to ensure that we've done as much as we can to disseminate as much information as possible and to let them know that no, we're here to support them.
Yeah, okay, no, lovely. I've got a question from Gary. Hi, Manish, can I take it that KPM will provide ongoing training and coaching on new software developments for existing users?
Correct. Yeah. So, our software, well, all our plans include free support and training, and we don't charge any extra for that because we feel at the end of the day, the better you understand the platform, the less we're going to see in terms of like support queries and tickets and what have you moving forward. So the same can be said for MTD. If you pop onto our website, I think we still got the training sessions if you book in, because we have a calendar where you can book your own training sessions, right? All our existing customers, and there's still an existing one for MTD VAT. So we will have the same sort of process for self-assessment. It will be out there. We're holding webinars on a concurrent basis. But if you want to have a one-on-one session with one of the product team to get your questions out of the way, it will be available to all our clients.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. I think an observation stroke question from Neil. Thank you, Neil. Hello, Manish. As a very small one-man practitioner, I use a bridging product, Excel-based, for VAT clients. Have numerous 20k sales one-man clients. The bridging provider assures me their product will be developed for income tax moving forward. I don't know. I think that's an observation. I don't know if you'd want to as an observation back to Neil there.
Yeah, no, what I would suggest to Neil is that's great that he's got a bridging platform in place at the moment, and if the confidence is there on his side that the platform will have something in place for self-assessment, there's nothing wrong with asking the question, right? You will have teams within every software team will have a product team which hopefully will be able to give you a roadmap into terms of their development and where they're going. So customer opinion and thought is at the forefront of any software provider. So I suggest to Neil, it's a great statement that he's got out there, but if he wants that assurance, get in touch with his platform provider to get some more information to ensure that he's happy that they will service his needs moving forward.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Now I think a comment more by David, but then that does lead, I think, into a question. My small self-employed gardener who has a gross income of 15,000 is never going to join MTD, and there is nothing Hmrc will do about it. I'm not quite sure what the answer is to that, David, but I do have a question for Manish that might link to that, because I think both from a professional body perspective and from a software provider perspective, I think there is a need to support accountants in terms of their communications with their clients, i.e. the awareness needs to be raised of making tax digital, what's coming next, i.e. self-assessment. So I don't know if somebody is a user, a customer, Manish, do you also support in terms of, the practitioner's marketing or content support that they can be sending out to their clients?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Jonathan. I think we've found definitely that over the part, especially with MTD the first time around, we wanted to be able to provide tools to allow you to communicate this message effectively to your clients, right? So what David mentioned there, where at the end of the day, he doesn't see his gardener being affected or being bothered by what the Hmrc want. What you saw in that video, you want to be able to check your legibility for MTD, right? At the end of the day, if they fall into the caption the caption of they have to be a part of this scheme, there's not much the end business can do about it, and there's not much you as an accountant can do about it, because it's a rules mandated down from the Hmrc. I'm sure a lot of people sit there and take notice if they see a fine come their way, right, because of a failed submission because you didn't realize. I think you need to, as an accounting practice, look at your client base and say, right, who is going to be eligible for this scheme, and whoever is, use the tools within your software platform, or even if it's not through the accountancy software platform, if you use something like MailChimp or anything like that to get your marketing messages out to your clients, speak to your accounting software provider, because we're creating content all the time, right? It's a part of our jobs to ensure that our accountants are out there and they are informed of these changes. we would never turn away a customer from if they ask us for a bit of advice or how to phrase a customer email out there, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of questions. And you know what, it's about digital marketing. I think we did not a webinar, but we did a series on it quite recently. A lot of accountants, especially in the last year, have looked to attract new clients, and at the end of the day, right now, it can only be done online, right? You haven't been able to do it in person and meet a lot of people in person. So yeah, look, we're happy to provide those tools. I think a lot of accounting software providers will provide you the packs to get you MTD ready, and it's for you to use them and disseminate them to your clients at the end of the day, and use the tools that you have to get them to your clients effectively as well.
Okay, no, Manish, that's great. Thank you. I'm conscious of time, and I will draw things to a close unless anybody has any further comments or questions they want to ask. Having listened, I think there are some takeaways for me, for us, probably for all accountants. I think we've got to be prepared. So if you haven't started your research now, start doing it. Talk to the relevant providers, talk to us as your institute if we can help you, but be prepared. I think that leads into you understanding what's required, what are the time frames, and what's coming up. And then I think it's about communication. It's about communicating with one's clients earlier rather than later, taking them on a journey. I appreciate it could be a difficult journey, but I think one needs to start communicating. So they would be my takeaways. And Manish, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your thoughts this morning. We will follow up today's session with an email to all attendees. As I said earlier on, that will include the slides, that will include the recording, and people might want to go back over that video just to sort of understand something that they might have missed as it was being sort of run. But as well, there will be Manish's contact details. Any queries, any questions, of course, come back to him. Gary, thank you. Manish, cheers from Gary for your time. And another one there from Adnan. Thank you, Manish, for all the information. So thank you very much indeed, Manish. Thank you to everybody for attending. Wish you a good day. Please follow up with Manish and KPM if there's more information you require or support you believe they could provide. Thank you all. Have a good afternoon.
Take care.